You're at a party. Someone walks up to you, smiles, extends a hand. So what do? And something inside you dies. Not dramatically, not visibly, just a small, quiet death somewhere behind your eyes where the real you lives. You smile back. You answer. You say something about your job that makes it sound interesting enough to justify the oxygen you're consuming in this conversation. They nod. They don't care. You know they don't care. They're already scanning the room for someone more useful. Nice weather we've been having. You want to scream. Not because you're antisocial. Not because you're awkward. Not because something is wrong with you. Because something is right with you. And psychology can prove it. Level 1, the exhaustion. You felt it your entire life. That specific type of tiredness that has nothing to do with sleep. You can run a marathon. You can work a 12-hour shift. You can function on 4 hours of sleep. But 15 minutes of small talk at a work event drains you like someone pulled a plug at the bottom of your soul. You stand in a circle of colleagues. They're talking about the weekend, about a restaurant, about a show everyone is watching. You nod. You laugh when they laugh. You mirror their energy. But inside you are performing. Every response is calculated. Not because you're fake. Because this type of conversation requires effort that other people don't seem to need. You've always wondered why. Why does this exhaust you when everyone else seems to float through it like breathing? Psychology has an answer. It's called cognitive load theory. Your brain has a limited amount of processing power, like a computer with a fixed amount of RAM. Deep conversation, real conversation, uses that processing power efficiently. You engage. You think. You connect. The effort matches the reward. Small talk uses the same processing power, but produces no reward. Your brain is working just as hard to discuss the weather as it would to discuss the meaning of life. But the weather gives you nothing back. It's like running on a treadmill versus running towards something. Same energy, zero destination. Your brain knows this. It registers the imbalance, and it responds with the only signal it has. Exhaustion. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because your brain is efficient enough to recognize a waste of resources. Level 2, the craving. Here's what nobody tells you about people who hate small talk. They don't hate talking. They hate empty talking. There's a difference so massive it could fill the Grand Canyon. You, the person who dreads cocktail parties, will sit in a coffee shop for 4 hours talking to one person about childhood trauma and the nature of consciousness and whether free will actually exists. You will lose track of time. You will forget to eat. You will walk away energized instead of drained. Same mouth. Same brain, same social muscles, completely different fuel. Psychology calls this need for depth the need for cognitive closure. Some people are comfortable with surface-level interactions. They can exchange pleasantries and feel genuinely connected. You can't. Your brain requires resolution. Depth, meaning. It's not a preference. It's a neurological wiring pattern. Research from the University of Arizona found that the happiest people in their study had twice as many substantive conversations as the unhappiest people. And they had 1/3 the amount of small talk. Read that again. More depth, more happiness, less surface, less misery. You're not broken for wanting real conversations. You're built for them. The problem isn't you. The problem is that the world runs on small talk. And you're a deep-sea diver living in a kiddie pool. Level 3, the mask. So you adapt. You build a mask, not a physical mask, a social operating system, a version of yourself that knows the right things to say, that laughs at the right moments, that asks, how was your weekend, with a convincing amount of interest. You've been perfecting this mask since middle school, since the first time you tried to talk about something real and the other kids looked at you like you were speaking a different language. You learn fast. Don't go deep too quickly. Don't ask questions that make people uncomfortable. Don't be too intense. Too intense. You've heard that phrase your whole life. From friends. From partners. From coworkers who meant it as advice but delivered it as a verdict. You're too intense. Translation. You make me think, and I didn't come here to think. So you turn down the volume. You learn the scripts. Hey, how are you? Good, and you? Can't complain. Happy Friday. For phrases. Zero information. Complete social acceptance. You mastered the simulation. But mastering something and enjoying it are very different things. Every time you perform the small talk ritual, you feel a tiny piece of yourself go quiet. Not die, just mute, like a musician who can only play scales. Technically correct. Emotionally bankrupt. Psychologists call this surface acting. It's a term from emotional labor theory. Surface acting is when you display emotions you don't feel to meet social expectations. It is directly correlated with burnout, emotional exhaustion, and depersonalization. The same psychological mechanism that burns out nurses and customer service workers is what happens to you every time you pretend to care about someone's new kitchen renovation that you're not being dramatic. You're experiencing measurable psychological strain. Every single time. Level 4, the guilt. And then comes the worst part. The guilt, because society has told you that being social means being good. Extroversion is rewarded. Networking is essential. People skills are listed on every job description like they're a basic human function. And if you don't enjoy those things, something must be wrong with you that you've Googled it. Why don't I like talking to people? Am I antisocial? Is something wrong with me? The search results are a mix of personality disorders and self-help articles that basically say, try harder. So you try harder. You go to more events. You force more conversations. You practice your small talk like it's a skill you can grind. And it works. Sort of. You get better at performing. But the performance gets heavier because performance requires energy that authenticity doesn't. When you're being real, truly, deeply real, energy flows. It generates. It multiplies. When you're performing, energy drains. It depletes. It leaves you sitting in your car after a party wondering why you feel like you just ran a marathon in dress shoes. The guilt says, everyone else can do this. Why can't you? But the guilt is based on a false premise. Everyone else isn't doing this, that they're performing too. Research shows that most people prefer deep conversation to small talk, but default to small talk because they assume the other person prefers it. Let that sink in. Both of you are pretending. Both of you are performing. Both of you would rather talk about something real. But neither of you will go first, because going first is too intense. Level 5, the permission. So here's your permission. Not from a therapist. Not from a self-help book. From psychology itself. You're not broken. You are not antisocial. You are not too intense. You are a person whose brain is wired for depth in a world that rewards surface. The exhaustion you feel after small talk is not a weakness. It's a signal. Your brain telling you that you deserve better fuel. The craving you feel for real conversation is not neediness. It's a neurological need. As real as hunger. As valid as thirst. The mask you wear is not who you are. It's a survival tool you built because the world punished you for being genuine. And the guilt? The guilt is a lie. A cultural lie that says the loudest person in the room is the most valuable. They're not. The most valuable person in the room is the one who listens. Who thinks before speaking. Who asks the question everyone else is afraid to ask. That's you. You don't hate people. You hate pretending. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, wrong with that. The ending, you're at the same party. Someone walks up to you, smiles, extends a hand. So what do? You pause. You could answer the normal way, the safe way, the small talk way, or you could say something real, something that skips the script and lands somewhere honest. You take a breath. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out why we always ask each other what we do instead of who we are. They blink. They weren't expecting that. Nobody ever is. But then something happens. They lower their shoulders. They put down their drink. And they say, yeah, I've always wondered that too. And just like that, the small talk ends. And a real conversation begins. It was always that simple. Someone just had to go first.